I'm working today on one of my annual Christmas ornaments. I've traced a design. In this case, it's the lettering for the word for peace, Pax, onto a piece of tracing paper. I resized it once to get my alignment correct inside the circle. I copied it on a copy machine and resized it. Then I traced over it again, get me a nice crisp image, attached it with glue stick to a piece of 18 gauge copper. I'm now have it facing on the bad side of the copper, facing up, and I'm carving out in the direction of the words. When I put it into the machine, it will be reversed. As I'm cutting out my design, I find that the paper tends to peel up and lift with a saw blade, so I cut the inner portion first. Okay, I have roughed out my cut. There are a few places that I'm not happy with. I left a little bit of room, so I'm going to take these out with a file and even up my design. I'm working still from the front side, so I'll push downward with the file. I've been working from the top, and I do have a slight flat spot on the curl for the P. However, this is only about a 1/16 apart across. So I turned it over, started working from the back side, and I have eliminated the flat spot. On the larger pieces, such as the stem of the P, it has to be true all the way up. As the metal expands into the larger space, you don't want to have anything that will trap it or create an undercut. So as you can see, I've pretty much cleaned up everything except the bottom part of the P on the right-hand side. To test for undercuts and make sure I've got it smooth enough, I use a piece of clay and press into the piece, and then do my inspection on the piece that comes out. I'm now going to ease the interior side, which is the forming edge, and I don't want it to be too sharp to cut through the metal or to create a grab. Prepare the back side, slightly ease the edges, sand it smooth, make sure there are no undercuts, that everything is approximately 90 degrees, or if tapered, tapers wide at the back, narrow at the front. This is going to be the side that is against the metal. The former is mounted inverted in the press. This is a 2.5 inch diameter, 4-inch dome, 1-inch shaft. The Bonnie Doon is held in the tool holder at the top. For most of my tooling, I have used the Bonnie Doon 3-inch contained urethane cup. There's only one small problem. The wells on the Bonnie Doon are inside the cup. For this project, I'm utilizing DevCon steel epoxy and made a cup. I poured this. Since it doesn't have wells on the inside, there's less chance of it breaking. And so I now have a matching piece for my former. Opposite my former, in the Pepe Tools containment vessel. Here is my stacked unit. The mushroomer at the top, the urethane cup with the concave with a concave piece below it. I will align it by feel. I bring the cup down almost touching, and then I feel around, and that is my alignment. I then mark it on the barrier piece. I'm now taking my pattern piece. I've checked it with clay. I polished it. I put it in reverse side. I'm putting the printed side down, the correct reading print down, placing it into the press, center it up with the mushroom former, here I'm pressing into the urethane. I have approximately 4.9 square inches of surface on a 2.5 inch disc. That means that I can divide roughly by 5 the pressure reading that I get. I now have my tooling. It goes in to my cup, and then I will place my blank and my urethane on top of it. I have already formed 2.5 inch 28 gauge discs. I will position them, aligning them with my die. Find my alignment marks, which are in blue, so I know that my mushroom is not going to hit the sides. Check again to make sure that my product hasn't slipped. It has. I'm going to have to reposition. I have the blank and the die in the mold. The die goes down first, the blank goes on top of it. I'm going to slide in 2 pieces of 16 inch urethane, and then I'm going to press into it. Here I'll begin pressing. Since this is only 28 gauge metal, and it's already preformed, I'm going to see what kind of an image I get at 5,000. So that would be just over 1,000 psi. That apparently was a good number. I don't get a lot of extraneous trash from my metal around it. I have a good raised image. This is what the original die looks like. It was in the machine like this. And now I will put liver of sulfur on this piece and proceed to make more. Okay, I tried to imprint the A and the X a little deeper, and instead they got tangled in the form. So I have instead gone back and increased the size, which means they will dome up more. There's a die that I tried to use that was 2 layers of metal with a locator ring. I got little bumps in it between the 2 pieces of metal, but here is a piece that has been executed in this method, and then applied liver of sulfur. There is a flat spot on this particular piece where I dropped something on it. Here is a piece made where I had urethane behind the piece, as I just illustrated, and also pushed it into the urethane cup. It lowered the profile, and I decided instead that I would utilize my epoxy-filled concave piece. Here's a recessed piece. This was created by positioning the disc material on top of the urethane cup and placing this writing side up, down, and then lowering into it. This will create a reversed image, a recessed image. Here's my 12 Days of Christmas. These are carved out of brass. The 5 gold rings, I formed the rings and then glue them on or solder them on. The paint will have to be taken back off of these. The objects are not perfectly formed for close view because these are designed to be seen from 4 to 10 feet away, and so a 1/16 or roughly 20 the depth of the 20 gauge will give you readable images at a distance. Okay, I'm about to load and imprint this from the 12 Days of Christmas. Place the impression side up, cap it, invert it, align it, place it in the urethane cup, verify the alignment, put it into the press. This is the way it looks in the press. This is about 3 bar, about 4,500 psi.